Hello and welcome to Beer for Breakfast. I'm your guest, Greg Koch.
All right, 3, 2, and 1. Hi, and welcome to another edition.
Oh, I forgot the 3, 2, and 1
the
part.
The 3, 2, and 1. Come on, Greg. This is what happens.
Clearly lack of professionalism.
This is what happens right here. I am Danielle from the Moog Show on 91X.
I forgot the clapper.
This is what happens when you have like two beer geniuses with you. I am Danielle from Beer for
Where are they?
I know,
I want
right?
to meet them.
These are over here, these guys.
I know that's one. Yeah, actually, I would agree with you.
So as you see, this is not a regular Beer for Breakfast ABV. We are at Stone at the World Bistro up in Escondido, and I have the one and only Greg Koch with me here today. As always, I've got Paul Segura, you know, my beer partner in crime with me, and I have Jose, one of the brewers here from Stone.
Hi.
So
how's it going?
this is super exciting. Stone is turning 22.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for your service.
Yeah. Oh yes, thank you for your
The
service.
whole beer world.
It's been my pleasure.
Thanks you for your service.
So let's cheers first with this
okay.
delicious Stone White Geist Berliner Weiss.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to 22 years of Stone.
Delicious.
That is delicious. So this comes in at a 4.7 ABV, only 12 IBUs, and
It's a sour beer.
it is a sour beer, so would not be bitter, obviously. And this is a kettle sour, right? I'm still learning my sours a little bit.
So sometimes associated with kettle sours are that sort of baby vomit thing, but I get none of that in this particular beer. It's super clean, tart, well made. I get really nice stone fruit flavors, don't you?
Sometimes when I have Berliners, they hit me right here, but this one doesn't hit me right there, and I like that.
I'm getting some right here, and that Pavlovian sort of even before as I bring it to my lips, I start to get that. But I find that you get just a tinge of it. It's the anticipation of that refreshing character.
It makes me want to keep drinking more. Every time I take a drink, it makes me want to have another drink.
That's a sign of a good beer.
So Greg, give it a little bit of background on Stone for the 5 people in San Diego that don't know.
I'm going to love to just bump in and talk about the Stone White Geist Berliner Weiss for half a moment.
I am all about
since
it.
We're drinking that. So we actually import this from our brewery in Berlin. And this has now become the widest available in the world. We distribute a number of countries right now, including a little bit to the U.S. Widest distributed actual authentic Berliner Weiss in the world, because we technically, and the U.S. doesn't follow this convention, and I get that, technically in most of Europe, in order to label something a Berliner Weiss, you actually have to brew it in Berlin. Sort of that Champagne, Burgundy, etc. It's an appellation, right?
Yep.
But I don't actually fully subscribe. We're in the U.S. and there's lots of people making awesome Berliner Weisses of a wide variety of styles, whether traditional like that one is, or non-traditional with all sorts of other ingredients. And I think it's a wonderful style.
So what does Berlin think of this beer? They dig it?
Berlin collectively, the 4 million or so people in Berlin, I would say they are largely oblivious. Not that Berlin people don't take that wrong, but they are not aware of the Berliner Weisse style. They are not aware of craft beer or specialty beer or things outside of sort of your industrial grocery store volume, buy a crate at a time for 8 or 9 euros pills.
So as a business that's going into a market like that, how do you combat that? How do you tell the people, no, this is amazing, and you want to drink this kind of beer?
So the exact same way we combated it, or faced it, if you will, here in San Diego some 22 years ago when we started, as Paul can tell you, because he's been in the brewing industry for at least that long. How long?
I'm coming up on 25 years.
25 years here in San Diego, and people were not aware here. People bought cheap industrial beer here. They still largely do, even though San Diego craft brewing has been an incredible success. Volumetrically, it's still about industrial cheap beer all over the world. People, foo-foo beer, weird beer, those little microbrews. When I first would tell people what I was doing, I would say I had a small brewery, and they said, okay, well, what kind of food do you serve? And we didn't have a restaurant for our first 10 years. And so it was largely just not understood, and that's the current state in Berlin today. And I'll give you a little perspective. Today, San Diego County is maybe 3 million people, Berlin 4 million people. When we started, we were around the 15th brewery to open in San Diego County. Today in Berlin, there are about 15 breweries. I think 12 of them have opened within the last 5 to 7 years. And at least 12 of the 15 are focused on American craft beer styles predominantly, although they also, some will do traditional or some variety of German styles, as we do with the Stone Weichgeist Berliner Weisse. So a little perspective.
Okay.
What a reset, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the perception is one thing, but the reality is something completely different.
Yeah. I think for a lot of Americans, when we think of Berlin, we think of this style of beer right here, Berliner Weisse.
Absolutely.
But you see it often in the books and stuff with the Schuss added, right?
Yeah.
The Schuss.
What's Schuss?
The raspberry syrup or the woodruff syrup.
Right. Red or green. They would say rot, red, or grün, green. And I still rolled my R on the green. I don't know why. Maybe I'm Irish or something. So, anyways, yeah, they will insist. So one thing, a typical Berliner today would say they don't like Berliner Weisse. It's too weird for them. Then when I get them to try this, I will hand them this, and they will. Where's the Schuss? I'm like, oh, no Schuss. And they politely as they can, because they're actually really awesome people, they politely as they can explain to this poor American who doesn't know any better that, no, you have to put the Schuss in.
What does the Schuss do?
The Schuss is adding artificial flavors, artificial coloring, and sugars.
Why would I want to do that to a delicious beer?
Thank you.
Berlin, what are you doing?
It tastes perfectly good, especially in the heat.
It's because that's what they've been taught by the industrial brewers who were making something that was a sort of, I'll call it, just like an industrial American light beer is a, beer-like substance. They were making a Berliner Weisse-like drink that was a little bit deviated from the true, authentic, awesomeness that the style can be.
Berlin, get it together.
Well, beer drinkers around the world, I don't want to focus just on Berlin because, as I will tell my Berlin friends, by the way, it's okay, I understand, because Germany, like every other country in the world, primarily drinks industrial cheap beer.
Well, let's focus on another part of the country, because I'm curious, or in the world, because I'm curious how Shanghai, you guys are now open in Shanghai. How is Shanghai receiving craft beer? Are they all about it? Is it different? What's it like over there?
Yeah, it's different.
I would imagine. I would imagine it's very different. Excuse
But also
my
the
ignorance. I
same
have
in
no
that
idea.
they drink industrialized, sort of commoditized beer.
Oh yeah,
right?
well, I'll ask you this trivia question.
Yeah.
Maybe then anybody else can pop in. What is the #1 selling beer in the world? What is the name of it? Can you name it?
Budweiser?
Heineken? I call it Heineken now.
Maybe
It's a brand from China. I believe it's Snow.
You got it. No, Tsingtao
right?
doesn't even come close.
I was going to say Tsingtao.
Snow,
really?
Snow is the #1
No
selling volumetrically brand in the world. You've never heard of it.
No, that's why I am so blown away right now.
So what it is, if you take sort of an American industrial style beer and you water it down significantly, like literally, because I think a lot of their beer they're selling at 3% range and such. So that's the perception of beer, because your perception of beer is informed by what you're informed by in your surroundings. And if you're informed by your surroundings and you're in Berlin, that Berliner Weisse is weird and you have to add red or green syrup in it, that's what you believe. If you're in China and you think beer is, super, super watery and light, and cheap, that's what you believe.
I can imagine Stone IPA just blew their mind.
So there are a lot of, we have a big Asian community here in the Western United States, specifically across the United States. So there's a lot of back and forth, and whether somebody has come and lived here, maybe gone to school, or visited or whatever, and expats from United States and other countries in China, those are the groups that are Because they've been
They know the
informed
gargoyle.
Well, they've learned about Stone, and they've been informed by their surroundings. They've just widened, if you're informed by your surroundings, because we're human and we are, and you widen your surroundings, then you have a wider base of information and things you learn. And then you have an opportunity to have discovery.
And the internet's made the world a lot smaller. You can discover.
In ways,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
true.
So
And a lot
22
more
years
hateful.
later, you're still educating people.
Let's not go there.
It never stops. Educating people, it just never stops.
Well, it's true. Hey, it's sitting next to me at a bar with a beer in my hand is equivalent, and saying, hey, so yeah, tell me about beer. It's equivalent to saying Beetlejuice 3 times. Like transform and pause, and then you can't shut me up.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But you're very knowledgeable about it. You're very informed.
And
But
passionate.
22 years ago, in 1996, were you this knowledgeable? Were you this passionate about beer?
Absolutely this passionate. There's no question about it. This knowledgeable. I am willing to admit, and I have to own up to, how little I know today. Back then, I actually think I knew quite a bit. And I might have actually known more about beer and the beer industry at that time, percentage-wise, to sort of what the world was out there, because it was a smaller, more, and today, like at least 10 years ago, I made the switch from thinking I knew what was possible, what could be done, all this kind of stuff, and now I will admit, no. Anything I thought I knew, I'm in discovery all the time.
It's so difficult to keep up. It's so hard to keep up. You never know, even just in San Diego County alone. Keep straddling that like 150. You never know who's opening, who's closing down, who's opening, who's closing down. Yeah. So when you look, for someone like you who's looking at a global scheme, how can you know everything?
And so I don't try to know everything. I just try and absorb and learn and talk. And hey, the discovery process is still pretty pleasant by and large. So.
Oh yeah. So going back to 96, how did Stone start? How did we get to this?
I actually learned how to distill that down into 4 words. Beer geek gone pro.
Beer geek gone pro. I like that.
And the story is longer and has more words in it, but that really encapsulates. I started my beer geek journey in '87 when I had my first Anchor Steam, a hole-in-the-wall bar in downtown Los Angeles where I was living. And then slowly, because it was slowly over at that time, right? You kids today don't know how good you have it.
It's a true story.
Yeah, just a really true story. Get off of my lawn. Slowly, I started to learn about beer and became more and more enthusiastic. Every beer festival I went to, I wanted to go to another one. Every brew pub I went to, I said, wow, that was cool. I want to go to another one, and so on. And I would go to the library and get out books that would tell me where to find the brew pubs.
What's a library?
Yes.
Yeah. What's a book?
Parents, tell your children.
So
Great beer.
Moshe,
Double IPA?
I think it's a single
Is it a
IPA.
Let's take a look at the ABV.
What does the bottle say?
7.6. So
All
by
right.
today's San Diego standards, this would be in the single category.
Yeah, you're right.
That's true.
So what's the story behind this? This has something to do with the American Homebrewers Association, correct?
Yes. So it marks the 10th anniversary, and I'm reading from the back. I'm using my crib notes here. It's from the 10th anniversary of the American Homebrewers Association rally that we have had here at Stone, either here at the Stone Brewing World Bistro and Gardens in Escondido or the Stone Brewing World Bistro and Gardens in Liberty Station. We bounce back and forth. And this was the most recent winner of the competition. And then we crank up the recipe to the big scale, and we release it proudly every year as a collaboration with homebrewers.
So Corey Magers was one of those brewers, I believe, right?
Yes,
Corey
Magers
good job,
and
buddy.
Elizabeth Bacchus.
Good job.
And that's a collaboration with Virgin Beer Company, another great brewery
Yes.
here in
They
San
just
Diego
won the Sorai
County.
Cup recently here in San Diego.
What?
The Sorai Cup.
What? I must have been traveling. I was traveling.
Let's
Help me out
educate
here.
Greg. So
Yes,
Sorai
educate me.
Cup, the beer drinkers of San Diego, they nominate the beer that you can find all year long, and there's beers from breweries all over the place, and then you go on and you vote. And Virgin won this year with
Awesome.
their Tivana IPA.
Tivana? I thought it was Tree something.
Is it?
Tree something
know.
IPA.
We're all still learning.
You have to Google this.
We're all still learning.
But this is an East-West hybrid. Is that East Coast West Coast IPA hybrid. Is that what I'm getting from?
Yeah.
So it's got a little bit of haze, but nothing too crazy.
It does have the hoppiness of West Coast, but it has the maltiness, I think, of East Coast.
And a lot of that fruity character, of course.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm loving the Northeast IPA styles, but frankly, where some of them fall short for me is when they lack bitterness, and then I'll enjoy a couple of sips, and then I need that balance for me.
I agree. Me too.
Did you
like
both embrace the New England style IPA right away when the style came out 2-ish years ago?
All right.
Well, I've been talking so much. Yeah, let's hear from Jose.
Well, yeah, I believe there's a lot to improve in the style. What I like about a West Coast IPA over a hazy IPA is the balance to it. You know, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to, you know, make this hazy bomb to make it juicy. You know, like you can, like for example, like Enjoy By. Enjoy By is a perfect example of a West Coast IPA. You know, you have everything. You have the balance of you can taste the malt, you can taste the hops. It's very nice. It has a very clean bitterness. You know, and I believe that, you know, that's how IPA should be, and that's pretty much how the West Coast IPA should pretty much be.
I agree with you, I think. I like the flavors and the aromas that I get from these beers, but I could do without the yeast.
Yeah, especially when you can see it in suspension, or it's got that chalky taste sometimes.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No.
But I think that as any category, right, we can look at West Coast IPAs and say there are phenomenal ones, and there are ones that maybe aren't executing as well. And that's the same with a Northeast IPA or any given style, Berliner Weisse, etc. So, you know,
I like this.
For me, I've got to have some bitterness.
This one has a veil to it. It's a bit slightly hazy, but that's not yeast. That's maybe some polyphenolic haze from the hops and
taking notes,
other
kids.
goodness. That's a beautiful beer.
Haze.
That has all the flavors I love.
And you don't actually have to know what that means to pull it out when you're sitting next to somebody at the bar and go, you know, I really think there's some polyphenolic haze going on here. And also I get it out of that Deep Purple album. You know, they definitely had some polyphenolic stuff going on there.
It was a great album.
Yeah. That is funny.
What is that double live album from that band? It's just
Deep Purple.
You want to talk to Mr. Music over there.
You know, Space Truckin' and of course Smoke on the Water. But they had,
that was Machine Head.
I'm thinking about the live version of that.
Oh shoot, no, I don't know the name.
That's where I'm having trouble coming up with. Can you please call in somebody right now? We're taking calls.
Call a friend?
We're gonna open up the lines.
Well, the anniversary beer, the 22nd anniversary beer, which is the whole reason why we're here, celebrating 22 years of Stone. And this is really special for you, Jose, right? This is your recipe, right?
Yeah, it's me and Jason. Jason Smith, my coworker. Yeah, we worked on the recipe, and you know.
What's the story? From what I understand, you guys, there's a competition that happens with the brewers, and you guys enjoyed this recipe so much you made it the anniversary beer.
We have been for the last several years with the Stone Brewer Spotlight Series, challenging our team to create small teams and then create recipes that we then judge blind. And this year we modified it a little bit, said we want only the category of double IPA, double, triple, slash triple. And it felt a little weird at first because we didn't want to limit people, because normally we haven't been limited. But I was super glad that we did this because we had so many new iterations of what a double IPA can be, and the flavor and characteristics, the aroma characteristics, everything. And this one stood out in a way that you'll understand.
That's a beer.
Thank you.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. I think
Yes.
it's
Cheers to
phenomenally
22 years.
Cheers to 22 years.
Whew.
And I love that 22 years at Stone is helped represent by a couple of guys who have been, how long have you been with us?
6 years.
6 years. There you go. So, and your brewing partner?
Jason has been, I believe, 8-9 years.
Wow.
8-9 years, okay. So, not the old school guys, right? You're like medium school.
I made it.
You're like in middle school, junior high. No,
6 years is nothing to sneeze at.
No,
No,
that's
not at
actually-
all. And where did
Yeah.
your guys' inspiration come from? Like when you want to brew a beer, where do you start?
Well, we first had a lot of ideas. We first started at the small batch system. So what we were doing was like doing different experimental hops and dealing with the hops. And then when this competition came and we teamed up, we wanted to like sort all those hops that we like by working together. So we brought this, like a lot of different experimentals, like experimental 6297, HBC 438. We did a little bit of Denali.
Right? I'm like, man.
That's what hop growers
Denali.
do when they're experimenting with the new varietals. They'll just give them a number first, and then if they get proven by brewers such as our team in other applications, and they think that the yield is going to be what they want, and so on, they'll take it and they'll name it and market it.
Huh.
Right.
I'm interrupting, and I want to give a little color.
No, please.
A little color.
I had no
That's how it
idea.
works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So could that be like the Jose style? Because you
No,
made such an awesome beer.
That's how we will think of it.
I believe that what we had in mind was to like revisit the West Coast IPA, because to me, honestly, I believe that West Coast IPA should be, number one. Especially in San Diego, and especially with Stone, that has been supporting the IPA style since since back in the day.
Yeah.
And I feel that, like I said, like clean bitterness, like balanced profile, and some nice like grapefruit character to it,
Yeah, I get a lot of citrus from this. I get really nice grapefruit going on. I get orange in there too. I'm guessing maybe some Amarillo hops.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
we did a lot of Amarillo and Citra.
Okay.
Because those are two of our favorite hops, and we decided to, go with
People
those.
love those hops, man. That's
Yeah.
Well, cheers to you and Jason.
Yeah.
You knocked it out of the park.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
You knew it
Cheers, man.
already
Good
because
job.
you won the competition, but this reinforces it.
So, Greg, from the get-go, did you guys decide whoever won the competition that was going to be the anniversary beer? Or did it just happen to work out that way?
To be honest with you, we had that in mind, but you have a fixed universe of the competition, and we felt we had to prove it. We wanted to award a winner and then say also, we think this beer. So they really won two levels of competition.
That's so awesome.
One, amongst their peers, that we felt it was the best beer out of the group. And then two, is it worthy of becoming, actually, because we're going to release it no matter what, but was it worthy of being the 22nd anniversary? Yes, it was. And yes, it is. And this makes me feel smart because I know I was right with that decision we made. But really, all the other credit goes to
You did good. Well, with every anniversary comes a celebration. The celebration is going down this weekend at UC San Marcos. It is the funnest beer festival that I would.
It's actually Cal State San
Cal State San. Just kidding. Cal State San Marcos. It's Cal State San Marcos. But it's such a good time. I went last year for the first time. There's a Friday and a Saturday. Friday is the brewers reception. Saturdays there's 2 sessions. There's 1 to 4 and there's 5 to 8. And there's over 55 breweries that are participating.
Handpicked, all curated, all 100% craft. Independent. I mean, there's some we have from some other countries that don't use the exact definition, but there are people, right? Yeah. And we believe very much in independence.
Well, and it's cool because for your guys' anniversary, I feel like everybody brings out the best stuff that they have. They bring out what they have, the best thing they have to offer. This isn't one of those beer festivals where you're like, oh, like I'm gonna throw on, my regular IPA. I'm just gonna throw on my lager. No, this is high quality that everybody brings to your guys' anniversary.
It's A-game stuff. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you don't come, you got to ask yourself what you're doing with your life.
Right,
Yeah.
and why you don't like to spend beer festival ticket money that goes 100% to charity. Why are you so damn
Yes.
cheap
Yes.
and you
Can you
hate
touch
those
on that
who are
some
disadvantaged?
more? Can we talk about that a little bit more about the proceeds going to charity?
Absolutely. I'm very proud to say that we've donated more than $3 million over our career from this anniversary celebration to charity.
Amazing.
And it's really a collective clap to all the people that attend, because we could not do it without you, and to all the people who volunteer wow, we couldn't do without them and all the great guest breweries that we have invited and bring their A game. So it's phenomenal, and it is Southern California's largest independent, craft beer festival. And yeah, there's more amazing beer that you can imagine. The rare beer all access portion is sold out already. We've got a couple of sessions that are getting close, but hey, check the website if they're still available. Snap them up, bring your friends, and know that you're drinking beer on behalf of those.
And the website once again
is stonebrewing.com /, whatever Google says. I'll tell you. Google.com, Stone Brewing, and then 22nd anniversary celebrate. Yeah, or just 22. That'll get you there. It just make it easy.
And when you go out there, make sure you use the hashtag Stone22. Look it up. There's all kinds of really great stuff going on. Get out there. Like you said, all the money goes to charity. What are you waiting for? And it's such a great time.
And you can send me a tweet to @StoneGreg that says, Greg, thank you for showing up on @Beer for Breakfast.
Yes, 91X Beer for Breakfast. That's where you are right now.
Okay, yeah, that part I knew. I was asking your Twitter handle or your @
Oh, well, so 91X Beer is the Beer for Breakfast Twitter.
Okay, that's what I was.
That's where
so you can send us a mutual
I thought maybe
tweet.
we went someplace else.
And you can thank us for giving you such awesome information.
And then you can listen to us because we're going to be live broadcasting from the anniversary that Saturday. Just saying.
Yep.
Awesome.
When
Well,
you show up, you might get to rub elbows with an icon in the brewing industry.
if not, you'll see him climb on top of a truck and greet everybody. That's at the very least. Greg, thank you so much for joining us for
already?
Beer for Already.
I'm not finished yet.
We've got food to eat. We've got more beers to drink.
I am hungry.
We got things. You got secrets to tell me that I can't talk about on camera. Oh my God.
You guys ought to be ashamed of yourself. I just heard that.
You're never gonna believe it. All right. Please join us on Saturday at Stone's 22nd anniversary. Cal State San Marcos. Got it right this time. Jose, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for brewing
Thank you for the
such
opportunity.
an awesome anniversary beer.
Yes.
I'm going to reach across, forgive me, for a fist bump here with my teammate.
Please do.
And to Jason as well, who's his co-conspirator.
Way to go, Jason. You rock.
Shout out to Jason.
Jason's the best. And
Paul, thank you for making so many of your amazing beers over so many years. And I first met this guy when he was brewing downtown.
It was a long time ago, my friend.
It's kind of cool to see Carl Strauss and Stone at one table with 91X. This is San Diego right here. And thanks for watching.
Drink indie beer.
Yeah! Happy anniversary, Stone.